Our first topic is number, and let's try to work out these examples. Here we have in A, we have a -3. So this means a negative. This means essentially a -3. -3 plus -7.5. I believe by this point in year 9 you should be fairly familiar with negative positive numbers, subtraction, addition. We have to use a number line for this normally, and let me draw this for you. So -3 plus -7.5. Again, plus and minus, they give you a minus. So it's -3 minus 7.5, like this. And so what we have to do is we get, let's say -3 is here, and we have to go left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 left. We will end up at -10, right? And then we go a bit more. We go 0.5 here. So this is -7. -7 and then minus 0.5. So to get altogether we would get -10.5 as an answer. There are some different methods to do this, and I will try to show you this these methods. Okay, next we have a -2.4 plus -6 plus 5.4. So again, plus and minus gives you the minus. And what do we have? We have -2.4 minus 6, and then plus 5.4. Okay, what we can do is we can do this step by step. So first let's figure out what is -2.4 minus 6. So this is two negative numbers, and subtracting negative number from negative number is the same as adding two positive numbers and then just putting the minus in the front of them, like this. So it's the same as negative then of 2.4 plus 6, and the answer is -8.4. And so what we have to do now is we have to do -8.4 plus 5.4. Okay, this is more interesting, but again what we can do is we can take the minus out of brackets and we can change the sign of both elements. So if we take minus like this out, we can change the sign. So -8.4 becomes positive 8.4, and positive 5.4 is going to become -5.4. So we have 8.4 minus 5.4, and the result is -3. We can open the brackets now and just write it as -3. What else do we have? We have -5.3. So this is C. We have -5.3 minus -4.7. So here minus and minus gives us the plus, and what we're gonna get is we're gonna get -5.3 plus 4.7. I think now we can use the same methods as we used here, which is we can take the minus out of brackets like this, and then we can change the sign of every number. So let's say minus out of brackets, then -5.3 becomes positive 5.3, becomes positive, and positive 4.7 becomes -4.7, -4.7, like this. And now we do what we know how to do. We subtract two numbers which are both positive, which will give us a positive result, but there is a minus before them. So 5.3 minus 4.7 is equal to 0.6, but actually it's a negative 0.6, like this. Okay, just a quick reminder, maybe you forgot how to subtract decimals. It's not very different from just subtracting normal numbers. Well, actually it's the same thing. You just kind of have a point in there. Everything else is the same. So we would have to borrow 1 from 5 to make it 13, like this. And then 13 minus 7 is 6, and 4 minus 4 is 0. And we have to transfer the point down, so we get 0.6. Just in case, just a quick reminder about how to subtract numbers with decimals. Okay, what else do we have? We have D, and in D we have 1.4 minus negative 6 minus 7.2. Let's figure this out. So first, of course, let's open the brackets. So I like to always write negative numbers in the brackets. I think it helps to clear the confusion, because sometimes there is minus and sometimes there is a negative number. Essentially it's the same thing, but it's still good to separate them. So what is it equal to? We have minus and minus. That would give us a plus. So 1.4 plus 6 minus 7.2. We can do this part first. So 1.4 plus 6 is 7.4. And 7.4 minus 7.2. Okay, that's actually pretty easy. It's 0.2. So yeah, 0.2. Okay, next thing is division and multiplication of negative positive numbers with decimals. Let's figure this out. Let's figure it out, yeah? So what do we have here? A, we have negative 23 over 8 divided by 7. So, okay, just a quick reminder. I already told you about this, but just a quick reminder. Plus and minus gives you the minus. Minus and plus also gives you the minus. Plus and plus, of course, gives you the plus. And minus gives you the plus, kind of surprisingly. Yeah? So anyway, minus 323.8 divided by 7. Let's figure this out. How can we figure it out? Yeah? So first of all, we have to see that this is a negative number divided by a positive number. So it's a minus and plus, and those two things, they give you the minus. So we know that answer is going to be a negative. Answer of this question is going to have a minus in the front. And the second part is, of course, we have to figure out how to actually do this division. So what we can do is we can just do 238. We can just do 238 divided by 7. But 238 is, of course, a big number. It's not actually a number that we are using. But we can kind of add this point later, or actually we can just do a normal division. Let me show you how to do it. So just a normal long division like this, yeah, 23.8. So, and then we try to fit 7 into this number. So 7 is not going to fit into 2. So we write 0 here. Then we try to fit 7 into 23. 7 is going to fit into 23. It's going to fit into 23 actually 3 times. So we write 3, and 7, because 7 times 3 is 21, right? So 23 minus 21, we can write 2 here. 7 is definitely not going to fit into 2, so now we have to take this 8 here. So we take this 8, but you see, because there is a point here, this point also has to transfer to the answer, like this. And now we do 28. 7 fits into 28 exactly 4 times. So the answer is 3.4 minus 23.8 divided by 7 is equal to, actually not 3.4, but negative 3.4 is going to be our answer. Negative 3.4. I will take this in the frame like this. And let's do the next one. So next we have a multiplication. which in my opinion is easier than division. 5.1 times negative 3. 5.1 times negative 3. So, okay, first, of course, we try to determine what is going to be the sign of our answer. Is it plus or is it minus? So this is a positive number and this is a negative one. Plus and minus gives us minus. So the answer is going to be a negative number. And now let's actually do 5.1 times 3. So the way to do multiplication is we can take the point out. We can take it out, but we have to remember how many steps did we have to take this point out of. How many numbers were behind the point. So in this case it's one number. There is one number behind the point. And then we just do a normal multiplication. So we just do 51 times 3, which is equal to 153. But now we have to take it back. Now we have to take this thing, we have to take it back one number again. So we took it away from one number, we give it back again to one number, like this. And that's it. That's the answer. But don't forget that it's going to be negative. So it's negative 15.3. Okay, and what should we do? Let's do one more division because I think it's harder. So let's do a C. So a negative 25.8 divided by a negative 6. Again, so we have to think first. We have to think first of all, what is our answer going to be? Negative or positive? Minus and minus give us the plus together. So the answer is going to be positive. So we can write already plus something. We don't really have to write the plus, but just so you remember it. Okay, so 25.8 divided by 6. Let's do a normal long division. 25.8. So 6 is not going to fit into 2. We can write 0 here. 6 fits into 25 though. It fits into 25 4 times. Actually it fits into 24. And we have a bit of a remainder, so 1. And then we drop 8 here. We get 18. And now we have to also take this point up and write it here. 18. So 6 fits into 18 3 times. 18 minus 18 would be equal to 0. So 4.3 is the answer. A positive 4.3. Again, this plus is not necessary. Okay, that's it for number 2. Again, take a look again, please. You can try to do D as your homework for a little bit of practice on this topic. Let's do next. We have to estimate. Okay, that's an interesting topic and the one which you will get to use very often actually. Let's try to estimate A. So in A we have square root of 20. Estimation implies that we are not supposed to use the calculator. We have to just think it's probably a roundish 3 or 4 or 5, something like that, you see? Let's try to estimate to 1 decimal place actually. Wow, that's interesting, to 1 decimal place. Let's figure this out. So square root of 20, well, what do we know about square roots? Square root of 20 is, we don't know what is it, but we do know that square root of 16 equals to 4, and we do know that square root of 25 is equal to 5. So that gives us kind of a hard evidence that square root of 20 is somewhere between 5 and 4. Well, where exactly is it? Right? Where exactly is it between 5 and 4? How is it possible to find? Well, we can try. Again, it's to 1 decimal place. It's kind of in the middle, you see? Like, so again, square root of 16 and square root of 25. 20 is right in the middle between 5 and 4, between 25 and 16. A little bit closer to 16. But then if we remember the nature of a square root numbers, that tells us it's going to be around, so 0.20 is approximately equal to, I would say, 4.5. We can check, we can use a calculator for this. So square root of 20 is approximately equal to, yeah, to 4.5. Next we have cube root of 15, right? And so cube root to 15, of course we don't know, but let's try to remember which are the closest numbers which we know cube root of. So we know cube root of 8 is equal to 2, and we should know that cubic root of 27 is equal to 3. Again, 15 is somewhere in the middle between those two, right? It's somewhere between 2 and 3. That's what it means. So 8 and then 27. Again, I would say it's probably 2.5. This would be the good estimate. 2.5. It's probably going to be a good estimate for this. Cubic root of 15 is approximately equal to 2.5. Let's try this out. But this one is, you see, it's getting challenging a little bit. So cubic root of 15, yeah, 2.5, 2.46. So around this, they say to one decimal place, around this 2.5. In C, we have plus minus square root of 80. Okay, this one's easy. This one's like really close to square root of 81, which is equal to 9. So if I were to estimate, I would actually say it's something like 8.95, which would give us a very close estimate. And actually, it's going to be plus minus. So it's plus minus because you see, don't forget about this sign here. It's there for a reason, plus minus. So you also have to write it in your answer. So it should be approximately equal to 8.95, actually closer to 9. It's like really close to 9, because you see square root of 81 is 9, and another one which is close is square root of 64, which is 8, but that's not close. 64 is actually really far from this number. If you think about it like this, if you kind of try to draw this, so here we have our square root of 81, which is 9, and here we have our square root of 64, which is 8. So square root of 80 is going to be like really close to 9, actually, like super close, because 64 is a long distance from 80, right? So it's like 8.95. We can try this on a calculator. Let's try it. No, not like this. 80. Yeah, 8.95. But we need it to 1 dp, so you can write 8.9 actually. So it's approximately equal to 8.9 plus minus, don't forget, plus minus 8.9. Okay, and let's go to our next one. Here we have multiplication by powers of 10. Okay, that's a fairly easy topic. If you have any questions, please leave them down below in the comments, which are going to be open soon. And if you want to practice, if you feel confident about your knowledge, you can just try yourself before I do these exercises. So you can just pause the video, you can just stop it, you can try to figure out this exercise, you can solve it, and then you can check your answers by checking the video, by watching it further. Okay, let's keep going. So 2.3 times 10 to the power of 3. So here we have to understand what is 10 to the power of 3. Basically, to keep it simple, 10 to the power of 3 is just a 10 with 3 zeros. Oh, sorry, 1 with 3 zeros, basically. If you try to track this thing, so 10 to the power of 2 would be 100, 10 to the power of 3 would be 1,000, right? 10 to the power of 4 would be 10,000. Yeah, so basically power 4, 4 zeros, power 3, 3 zeros, power 2, we have 2 zeros. It gets a bit interesting when we use negative powers, but still I think it's going to be clear. So for example, 10 to the power 0, any number to the power of 0 is 1, and then we go kind of in a negative direction. Not in a negative, but we are decreasing this number when we use negative powers. So it's going to be 0.1 for 10 to the power negative 1. For 10 to the power negative 2, it's going to be 0.01. For 10 to the power negative 3, it's going to be 0.001, and so on. So again, it's equal to 1 over 10, 1 over 100, 1 over 1,000, like this. We can write it like this. Okay, so how do we actually solve this? 2 to the power 2.3 times 10 to the power of 3. Well, what we have to do, because we multiply it and because it's a 10 to a positive power, the number is going to increase. And how much is it going to increase is a good question. 2.3, it's going to increase 1,000 times. So basically we times it by 1,000. So what we can do, we can take this point here and we can move it 3 steps to the right. We move it 3 steps to the right. And the point is going to end up here. And all the empty spaces we end up with, we have to fill them with zeros. 0, 0, like this. So the answer is going to be 2,300. If point is at the right side, like this, you see, we don't need this point anymore. We don't need it anymore. I mean, we can write 2,300.0, but this is unnecessary. We can just write 2,300 as an answer. Next we have 2,100 divided by 10 to the power of 2. Okay, so how do we do this? 2,100 divided by 10 to the power of 2. So because it's a division, the number is going to decrease. So if number is going to decrease, we have to put the point here. We have to put the point here. If there's no point, we put it here. And we have to go 2 steps. You see, the same amount of steps as we have a power. And we have to go 2 steps, 1, 2, to the left in this case. So we have to go 2 steps to the left. And the answer we get is 21.00, which we can simply write as 21. What else do we have? What else do we have? We have 0.00047 times 10 to the power of 5. Okay, so this one is similar to to letter A. This one's pretty similar to letter A. And what we have to do is we have to move it 5 steps to the right. So we take the point. And we move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 steps to the right. And the answer is 47, right? I mean, we can write 0.00047.0, but this is not going to make any sense because this is just 47. Okay, what do we have next? Next we have 19,200,000. 19,200,000, such a big number, yeah? Divided by 10 to the power of 6. So here we move the point. We put it here. we put the point here. If there's no point, we put it at the right end of the number. And we move this point, and we move it 6 steps. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is where the point is going to end up. And we can only write the part which we need is 19.2. We can only write 19.2. We don't have to write all these zeros after the point because that's still the same number. Okay, and then so here comes the interesting part. Here comes the 10 to negative powers. That's more challenging, I would say. So we have 340,000 times 10 to power of -4, and that's equal to, so here times it by 10 to the power -4 is basically the same thing. This is basically the same thing as dividing by 10 to the power of 4, like this. Like if you want to get rid of negative power, you have to change multiplication sign to the division sign, like this. And so what we actually have to do, because it's a negative power, it's a bit of a tricky concept, but you see, negative power, it gives you like this really small number. And if you think about it like this, we are multiplying 340,000 by 1 over 10,000, which is the same as dividing it by 10,000, which is essentially what 10 to the power -4 means. So again, what we can do is we can either do this, what I just showed you, or we can try and transform negative power to the positive power by changing the sign of multiplication to division. Let's figure this out. So what do we have to do is we have to move the point. 4 steps to the left. And the answer we are going to get is actually 34. The answer we get is 34. And let's do another one with negative power. Let's do a division by negative power. So that's like double tricky, actually, division by negative power, because you would think because it's division it should decrease, but actually it's a negative power, so division by negative power actually increases the number. Boom, right? A bit of a interesting concept. So 0.00036, right? We have 0.00036 divided by 10 to the power -5. Let's figure this out. So that's going to be equal to, so divided by 10 to the power -5. And again, if you want to get rid of negative power, you have to change the sign. So in this case, the sign is division. We have to change it to multiplication, and then we can change power to a positive power. And in this case, that's pretty simple. We just have to move the point 5 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to the right, 5 steps to the right, which would give us an answer, which is 36. Okay, let's do the last one. Actually, let's do just one more. H, let's do H, 0.041 divided by 10 to the power -2. Divided by 10 to the power -2 again. So what we do, we transform negative power to positive power, and then we can just move the point 2 steps to the right, and the answer is 4.1. That's an answer to H, and that's it for this lesson.